Goddamn it. Super motherfucking villain, goddamn it. Stop to get this million stack shit. Yo, this tip trying to tell us who you like, son. Chasing all of them anyway. When you come around, you bring brighter days. She told me you're the perfect one. I just can't check the two. He told her I will rock this microphone. Oh,
What up, Star Realm? I'm back at y'all with another one, you feel me? Today I've been thinking about some stuff, man. Thinking about stuff that concern Disney, man. I don't know, man. Like, ever since art school, bro, like, my brain had just been yeah, this is the world we live in, you feel me? But as an artist, bro, I'm affected. I'm affected by all the changes that's been occurring since high school. High school, I was excited for all the technology to advance and thrive and become smarter to the point where we as human beings can engage with artificial intelligence, our AR, augmented reality, VR, virtual reality, and all that. I was all for the future and the cause. I wanted to be alive and be around to see the day that we progress as human beings to advance ourselves to become something beyond in a more prosperous lifestyle. And it's just crazy because now, like, I feel like we live in a time, 2020, we live in a time where everything is individual, individual, individual. This individual, that individual, and people use a shame and guilt to build upon other individuals' liberty and freedoms to hype up their own because they feel like their own liberty and freedom has been depleted due to whatever circumstances. So whatever circumstances come up, they try to use that as an excuse to uplift their own. You feel me? So I've been reflecting a lot on Disney because a lot of people don't know. When I was at the Academy of Art University, they came and did a school visit to talk to the students about what it's like working in the field, what it means to be a professional. These are the things to look out for, this and that, whatever. I mean, it's cool because at the end of the day, it's a job, and through government regulations and everything, you have to abide by the rules. That's cool. I'm not against that. You feel me? What I am against is the fact that I feel like art art is never supposed to be this restricted, watered down medium for people who, in their heart, mind, and soul, wants to freely express themselves as they see fit. When you go through Disney, they expect you to draw a certain way, they want you to think a certain way, they want you to behave and act a certain way. And, in that certain way, they call it the Disney way. If you don't believe me, look at China's Shanghai Disneyland. It's like, yeah, y'all have Disneyland, woo, woo, woo. But at the end of the day, we expect y'all to treat it with a Disney manner. Disney is Disney. Don't try to make it Chinese. Don't try to alter it on nothing. Like, follow the curriculum of what Disney needs you to follow. And so, I was thinking in the back of my mind, like, all that aside, like, I was thinking in the back of my mind, like, as an artist, right? Because they push copyright so hard. They push copyright so hard. I have my stepdad. He has a cousin who worked for Disney. And the minute he saw that I was drawing Pokemon, he was pissed. And he was all like, "Oh, like I mean, I get it. Duh, right? Like you don't want to like send work already drawn as your portfolio into a major animation studio like Disney. Like duh, like I wouldn't do that." He said, "Let me see some of your work." And this is not a prepared portfolio, mind you. Too at the time, this is when I was like really discovering myself of who I am as an artist. One thing I learned about becoming a professional is like in the beginning You know, especially in hard times like these during a pandemic and all that, like there's no room for let you blossom and grow and discover the type of artist that you are, figure out your own style, figure out what you like, figure out what you gravitate towards, like, you know, and I think that's messed up because like that discourages the room for you to figure out if whatever studio that you've always wanted to apply for is really the studio that's right for you at that moment to start. So today I was just thinking about it. I was like, okay, you know, like what are some of the things I want to do for Star Realm, and what are some of the things I want to achieve for Star Realm, and what is my major focus? What is my long term goals versus my short term goals? And I was thinking about it, and I was like, all right, well, you know, like I do want to create stories. I want to come up with my own stories, blah blah blah. And I was reflecting on, you know, how some people create their stories and stuff, and what I learned is a lot of people, no matter what they say, like they always get inspiration from other people's stories that's already existed. And it may not be people's stories whose stories exist in this current time. You know, as a millennial, it's kind of hard. But a lot of people who are successful these days, they get their inspiration from old stories that they know nobody like some people probably heard of it, you know, but because there are very few who heard of those ideas, you know, like okay, well let's bounce off of this idea, bring it back and then redo it. Everything almost seems like it's a remake, and Disney is one of the biggest industries in the world that's big on remaking story ideas, you know, stories that already exist, you know, because the way they make it seem is like we take this ancient story that existed for thousands and thousands of years. Excuse me. We're gonna take the story that existed for so long, and we're gonna try to remake it into our own. You know, they call it the Disney fashion, but the Disney fashion is um, supposed to formulate itself into a modern day myth, and that's one of the patterns I realized. Because if you think about it, like, yeah, like they have Snow White, Cinderella, Jasmine, Mulan, all that, but those stories have always existed for so long. King Arthur. And that was the only reason why I liked it, is because in my mind as a kid, it wasn't because oh it entertained me, it was oh because there is a lesson in this story, and the lesson goes beyond the moral of what that story is producing through the Disney fashion. It's the moral of the story is, you know, history plays a key role in a human lifespan. Meaning that, you know, don't just settle. To me, in my heart, this is what the messages was. Don't just settle for what you see now. Take what you see now and dig deeper into the roots of what we're telling you through this medium. That is what I took as a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and above year old. You know, and I took that and I rode with it. But when you come face to face with these professionals in real life, bro, as an adult, and then you really trying to understand because you really want to be a part of this, and you want to cater to that same ideology that you always had, you know, it's that's, bruh, like that's where the business side kick in, you know, and like somebody who grew up on something like Samurai Jack and Kids Next Door and all this other stuff, you know, um, it kind of breaks my heart because at the end of the day, like when you speak with these people who work who do this for a living, you know, it seemed like some like their passion is there and they'll tell you who inspired them, but it all seemed like it's all the same every single time, like a repetitive thing. So my whole thing is like it's just strange to me how, you know, they started off on a foundation of redoing things that already existed in the past but flipping it and remaking it into their own. But when you do it in today's world, 2020, they treat you like it's a crime, literally copyright, right? So I just don't understand, where the original creativity kick in. Because at the end of the day, yeah, you could put like personal insight on that story. Like Mickey Mouse, dude. Like Mickey Mouse is a spin-off of Felix the Cat. You feel me? Like, and then on top of that, before Mickey Mouse, there was Oswald. You feel me? So Oswald was a spin-off of Felix the Cat because they needed something to compete with that cat, and the cat has been done already, and they came out with the idea of a rabbit. And when they lost Oswald, rabbit's already done, all these other animals is already done. So the last thing they ever really seen was a mouse during that time. And mind you, that was around like the 1920s, 1928, I believe. Um, so that's how Mickey Mouse was born. It was just, all right, we're gonna do a mouse version of Felix the Cat. And it just dawned on me because we treat Disney like it's the original thing of this entire world because they captured our imagination during our childhood. And what gets me, what makes me upset is we can't. Most people who are so entertained, I'm not knocking Disney. I like Disney. I love Disney. You know, Traditional Disney especially. I don't know about this new Disney, this amazing world of Gumball type Disney, but um, it just amazes me how you do your best to try to figure out, all right, well, what are ways where I can be original and creative and not copy other people. And then to me, my knowledge and what I experienced, what I've seen, and the questions I ask, it's not possible. You know, there's no such thing as I'm an original, because at the end of the day, at the very essence of what a true artist understand is, at the end of the day, you're always referencing nature, and nature is the most original form of creation to ever exist of all history. Nature at its finest, and even Disney will say this. Nature at its finest is the original creation, and you reference that, and based off of that, what you reference, that's what you build your stories upon. That's what gives it life. That's what brings it that full 100% magic. And I understand that now. It just it just upsets me because for a long time I've been telling people, support your local artists, stop supporting these major industries, because you pretty much have a minor industry right here in your own backyard that you don't support. And the only reason why is at the point that it's at and not where LA Hollywood is at is because nobody supports the local artists. Like we can really do like how everybody wanted to like protest Donald Trump and stop the economy and boycott this and boycott that and blah blah blah. If we did the same thing as far as the arts go, you know, um, it will make a difference. Like why, like these people telling us like, oh, you can't live with, bruh. Literally, the CEO of Disney, Bob Iger, really was like, oh, during these times of the pandemic, whoa, 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 they need us now more than ever, blah, 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 blah. And that's these fools trying to sell y'all on love, joy, and happiness. They're selling it to you. They're selling it to you. Did Bob Ross ever try to sell you the joys of painting? No. He never tried to sell you anything, bruh. He gave you a whole list of paints. He gave you the type of canvas to use and everything, and it was just on you, like whether you paint along with him or not. But at the same time, it didn't stop you from watching his program. It, like, for some reason, everybody was stuck on watching Bob Ross. Either it was because of his voice, either because it was his afro, or it was because of how gentle and calm he was able to paint one painting piece, masterpiece, in less than 28 minutes. And trust me, I love Bob Ross, so I know what I'm talking about. I used to like watch his stuff while I draw my own stuff for inspiration. And it's just crazy, man. Like how people don't really realize that. And that's why, on my Facebook the other day, I posted that I hate the word entertainment. Like what, like you have cats like J.R.R. Tolkien, C.S. Lewis, writing Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, Narnia, and never have they ever in their entire life, while doing these beautiful masterpieces in writing, and mind you, J.R.R. Tolkien created a whole entire language, borrow language from bruh. Like, don't get me started. Anyway, these cats never mention anything about entertaining anybody at all. Like, if you don't believe me, you can look it up. Google it. I dare you. Google it and see if you see the word entertainment mentioned in any quote by C.S. Lewis or J.R. Tolkien. They never mentioned the word entertainment. They wasn't about profit or anything like that. They just want to publish their work to share their love of fantasy and the joy that they have in their fantasy worlds. Narnia and Middle Earth. You feel me? And as a little kid growing up, I saw Disneyland, you feel me, as Middle Earth and Narnia, you feel me? And honestly, that's one of the things I admire about Fairyland in Oakland, you know, because to me as a local, you feel me, Fairyland is my Narnia in Middle Earth. It's not Middle Earth and Narnia exactly because, you know, it's children's Fairyland. But to me, that's what it was because it's a nonprofit. Meaning that these are people who come together. Yeah, like, you know, you got to pay certain people to keep stuff going and organized, but at the end of the day, it's still a nonprofit, you know. So at the end of the day, the people who come and work there, they do it out of the goodness of their hearts. They don't do it because we trying to profit and marginalize off of this and that, you know. And that's why I admire the fact that Walt Disney even thought about showing up in Oakland and coming to Fairyland to reference that park, one of the parks that he referenced to inspire himself to build his own park. And that's the thing, man. Like, that's why it hurts. That's why I take it kind of personal because, you know, you got this man, this brilliant man with genius ideas and everything like that, but he needed help, you know, and the bigger they get, why isn't Fairyland getting the same amount of support? You know, I mean, like, they are, don't get me wrong, but like, you know, I feel like Fairyland should be like a central hub of supporting local artists as well, you know, and it is, you know, to a certain extent, and that's kind of why I want to like cater to my work to them because I feel like they don't get as much as acknowledgement as they deserve versus Disney, who is known nationwide and they building all these different parks. And then to me, when they building all these different parks and establishing all this new stuff and new genre and new ideas, it's also an expansion of Fairyland because Disney didn't do all that by himself. He always had help. He always had help in some type of way or form, but he always had help in higher places. For me, he didn't go to like people like lower people. You feel me? Like he always like sought out like when he first started out, and it just depends on like what era and everything like that, but like in order to make his idea like humongous, he always go to the humongous people who was already big to invest in his ideas. You know, if you don't believe me, there's interviews on it. You know, before he started his project in Florida, it wasn't even called Disney World yet. They call it the Disneyland Project in Florida before they decide to call it Disney World. You know, and this is where like your own research and your own homework comes in. You know, if you really want to know the truth. If you don't care about the truth, that's fine, man. Continue to be entertained, but at the same time, if you inspire artists who's inspired by Disney like me, you know, and you want to do your own thing to the point where maybe you don't even want it to be like as big as Disney or anything like that, but you do want to share your ideas to the point where hopefully one day like you get the message out to the point where it expands beyond just YouTube and, you know, Twitter and all that. Like, really do your research and really figure out like what direction you want to take your work, because that's what I spent the past 5 years of my life doing with Star Realm. And it's not easy because, you know, the last thing you want to do is be a copycat. And honestly, to be real with y'all, like that's actually how I started as an artist, was copying other people's work. And before I even actually learned how to draw, because I was so eager to learn so quickly how to draw as good as my uncle. He's 2 years older than me, but he always like had like really good dynamic of how to draw like Dragon Ball Z characters and Pokemon and all that from his mind, and it blew my mind. I'm like, how did you do that? You know, I started tracing. I started tracing other characters out of books. I collected tons of video game magazines, and then for each character that I seen in a video game magazine that I knew I gravitated towards, you know, like I would trace them. But after tracing them for so long, it just made me realize like, okay, I can only do this for so long if I really want to, and that's me understanding it for myself, and I feel like that's the point where I really started to grow as an artist when I realized I need to learn how to draw for real. I can't if I'm serious about doing this for whatever reason why, I need to learn how to draw for real. You know, and like it was crazy too because after I realized that, you know, when I was in fourth grade, it was a cartoonist coming in showing us how to draw cartoons and everything, you know, and it wasn't by request or anything. It just happened as part of our curriculum as students growing up in the Oakland school district, and that's what inspired me to push me. You know, there's multiple things in my life that inspired to push me to become a better artist, but it's crazy because I'm really learning the fine line of what it means to be a professional in this industry. And I'm not even in the industry like that. I'm learning from the outside, from the sideline, you know, watching everybody else. I mean, I got tips and tricks from all types of professionals and everything like that. But, you know, it's just a fine line because, like, the last thing you want to do is lose your joy on the reason why you do it in the first place, you know. And I look at other people's work, you know, and I look at my work. My work is crap because like I feel like I half-ass it all the time because my passion is dry and my love is almost like running out because you know there's so much emotion that comes with it, you know, and I noticed that in a lot of artists too that there's a lot of emotion. Even in Walt Disney himself, there was so much emotion, you know, like when he first started there was so much passion. But then, like, when the business side would kick in, you know, and this artist wasn't getting paid enough and everything like that, he started to feel it emotionally, you know, where he got frustrated, you know, all them strikes and everything. So, you know, that, and then, like, that was one thing I considered for myself because, you know, you have people in your ear all day telling you what you can and can't do with your artwork. And nobody can really tell you how to deal with that. You have to learn how to deal with it yourself, you know, take it as you go. But the main thing is just stay motivated, stay positive, keep pushing, and if you have to, man, like revisit those things that inspired you in the beginning to even want to do the stuff. Look at other artists that inspired you to want to dig a little bit deeper. You know, for me, you know, as artists like you know the creators of Cowboy Bebop. I wasn't so much a Cowboy Bebop fan, but when I found out that the same guy who did Samurai Champloo was from Cowboy Bebop, I started looking into his work a little bit more. The guy who created and designed the characters for Kingdom Hearts, you know, his artwork really inspired me. It was his artwork that made me want to play the game. Um, on top of that, too, it was mixed with Disney. Um, Another artist, great artist who inspired me, Aaron McGruder, you know, with the Boondocks. And before I even watched the animated series, when I was 6 years old, you know, there's Charlie Brown, there's Garfield, and I was 6 years old, like, you had reading time, and you could read anything you want. So I said, okay, pick the newspaper, because the newspapers always had the funnies, you know, and my friend mom, she used to, like, assist, especially with kids who needed help, and she was my favorite because she had patience for me, you know, and I told her like I like reading the comics in the newspaper. She was like, oh, okay, you like to read the funnies? I'm like, yeah, I like to read the cartoons. You know, it's interesting because you already watch animated cartoons on TV, but to see it like drawn on paper, it's like, okay, this is where it comes from. Like this is the foundation of where it comes from, you know, before I got into anime and manga, you know. Um, and there was the Boondocks. And I'm like, and at first I thought Huey was a girl. I don't know why, but Huey looked like a girl to me because he had an afro, big hair, you know, and then like the way he was drawn, it just seemed kind of like feminine. But but when the animated series came out, I'm like, okay, it makes sense. But I say that to say that I seen the Boondocks in the Sunday Funnies before I seen an animated feature. But when I seen the animated feature, it hyped me up even more because the format that Aaron McGruder decided to go with, and that was anime. So to me, the Boondocks was the first real black anime I ever seen in my entire life. And to me, that's black history. Not only that, had damn near the entire cast of Friday, plus Snoop Dogg, plus Nate Dogg, Buster Rhymes, and then like that kind of recreated the dream team of what they brought in Space Jam, which was also another favorite of mine, not because it was basketball and Michael Jordan, but because you see a black man interacting with a fantasy world on a scale which I thought was impossible for African Americans to engage in. Like blew my mind, man. So, I say that I'm making this video because it was on my heart to share with you guys how I feel about this whole situation, with Disney Plus, and just hearing like how, brother, the business side of the art world is brutal because you have these people creating this amazing content, these amazing characters, and bringing them to life and make them do what they do, but in reality they don't care about nothing but meeting the timelines, meeting the deadlines, getting stuff done, making sure things properly done, and that's cool. But like when it comes to the money, at the end of the day, it seems like that's all they care about. Like, oh yeah, we make you laugh, we make you $5. Oh, you giggled ever so a little bit, $5. For every time you laugh and giggle at a joke and at a gag, that's $5. And it's like, okay, you didn't see Bob Ross saying for each stroke you make on a painting, based off of him inspiring you, everything, that's $5. Based off of each episode that you watch and share and like and subscribe to, $5. Like that's unreal to me. Like, so again, like what does it mean to be an artist? Is it possible to still remain to be a traditional artist in 2020? Because things are rapidly shifting to the point where things are becoming or seeming like it's unsure. And as a little kid, I made up my mind I wanted to be a cartoonist when I was 9 years old. And growing up, I was like, okay, well, the same thing that they did with Tom and Jerry, Scooby-Doo, all the Hanna-Barbera cartoons you could ever imagine. And to me, Dexter and all that, like they were shorts. They used to be like 5-6 minute shorts before they became like full cartoon series. Same thing with Courage the Cowardly Dog. And if y'all don't know, they used to come on a show called What a Cartoon. What a cartoon. Y'all don't know that. Y'all too young. Anyway, and they were shorts, and I grew up as a kid watching those shorts thinking, oh, that's what I want to do when I grow up. I want to do the same thing that they did. And I didn't know how or when or what, but I just knew that was something I was interested in doing, but nobody really had like a sincere way of guiding you into that field. I'm not saying it's impossible, but like if you really want it, you have to really strive for it, but also too do your homework to actually understand how this industry is moving, because everything is based off of like budget and what they can afford, what they cannot afford within a certain time frame, because they're willing to pay, but they're only willing to pay if you're someone who know how to work really well in a short amount of time and meet these deadlines. And that's why I'm happy I went to art school, because it was on your ass about meeting these deadlines. So I had that experience that made me feel a little bit more professional. And that's why I can't watch TV. I can't watch movies the same way I used to. The only thing I can really do now is read books. So, like I say, it kind of breaks my heart that, like so many people just invest in whatever just because they have their favorite TV show or movie on there. I'm like, bro, you can watch the same thing on whatever, but like you just really let these people in higher places like convince you that this is what you need in your life in order for you to be happy and to have joy in your life. And that's what Star Realm is against, because then it's not free will. It's you're obligated because you spend so much time with us. You better get Disney Plus because this is where your heart is. Follow your heart. Your heart is over here. But guess what? When you follow your heart, it's gonna cost you $20 a month. That's not that expensive, right? No, on top of the bills that you already need to pay. So and it's a lot to it, y'all. But I just want to share that with y'all, man. Like, that's on my mind. And but the reason why I'm sharing that is because I'm waking as an artist myself of Star Realm. I'm waking up to what my obligations are for Star Realm. And for me it's deeper because I'm with C.S. Lewis and J.R. Tolkien. I want to be an inkling. Like if another thing I realized too is like if Disney was really into like fantasy and fairy tales, like I kid you not, do your homework. And like look back on his childhood youth, you feel me, and see if he really had a fascination with fantasy and fairies and fairy tales and folklore and the grim fairy tales and all that, bro. I look up his childhood, bro, and there's no mention of any of that. There's no mention of grim fairy tales. He says nothing about fairies. He says nothing about going on an adventure to find like Calcimon or nothing like that. He don't talk about King Arthur or nothing, dude. Don't believe me, bruh? Look it up. You have a computer? You have a smartphone? Look it up. I kid you not. There's nothing in there that mentions any fantasy, mythology, or folklore. He had no interest in it as a kid. He just knew he wanted to draw pictures. And that's fine. But at the same time, it's like he's selling this. He's selling this just to boost his business and to get revenge on those who did him wrong. You feel me? I'm not saying he wasn't a good dude who wanted the best for people in America and to like pull America out of like depression or anything like that. That's fine. But in today, like how they're profiting off of that today, bro, they don't care, bro. They just know that because it's Disney, y'all gonna pay them. As long as it's Disney official, you're gonna give them money for it. Hey, here's a Mickey Mouse head. Give me $5 because it's an official Mickey Mouse head from Walt Disney himself, and that man had been dead for I don't know quite a while. But like I said, that's all I want to share because it's a concern to me, and Star Realm is concerned because we're genuinely, I'm gonna say we, even though it's just me by myself, but those who support and stand with Star Realm, like we are people of genuine interest in what we believe in, and we believe in moving forward with true genuine content and work. And we support the cause of continuing that type of work, genuine content. And again, I had this conversation with Floyd Norman, you feel me, when I was asking him, like, and I'm pretty sure he gets this question all the time about, what are your thoughts of the way the Disney industry is moving forward now? Like, do you feel like it's in the range of what Walt's original dream was? And you feel me? I feel like his original dream has been depleted because he's been through so much, because he's always been the boss. And originally he always counted on Mickey Mouse, but for some reason there was a point where he stopped drawing and everything. And now I'm like, there's no telling before he died where his general interest was, So I'm gonna let that rest. But moving forward, man, it's just more fuel for my fire, because now I felt like Star Realm has a true drive and has a true passion, realizing all this. And I'll only realize more as I progress more and more and more. But it's more fuel for the fire. It's more drive for whatever content that's to come for Star Realm. And this is what the videos are for, to keep you guys updated on what's going on, what's going down, affiliations that Star Realm may have and may not have, and what Star Realm thoughts are on certain situations when it comes to fantasy, mythology, and folklore, because fairy tales is something I take seriously. Same way C.S. Lewis will do a whole entire hour lecture on fairies seriously with a straight face, you know, and that's where we at. Is this what it is? As serious as a pagan is serious about her witchcraft. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. This is your boy Nova Ray, aka King Nova, aka Nova Ray 26 of Star Realm 26. Hashtag Star Realm 26. And if you guys like this video and like what I have to say, or if you want to leave any comments about this topic, go ahead and leave a comment. And if you want to stay updated with Star Realm and more topics similar to this, go ahead and click the bell at the bottom and like and subscribe. And let's get those subscribers to build it, because at the end of the day, Star Realm is a community. It really is. And it's a community that's going to keep growing in genuine love for what we believe. In other words, you guys, stay tuned for more content from Star Realm. Keep beaming, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, stay safe, stay healthy, and peace out from Nova Ray.